Welcome, everyone. Today we have with us Aaron Varella. Aaron is a VCU Business 2019 marketing grad. At the School of Business, he was a BSA and coordinator of student organizations at the Office of Student Engagement, so we are glad to have him back. Today, he'll be talking with us about his experience founding the social community Cove of Advice, his full-time work at Dominion Energy, and his time since graduation. He'll also answer any of your questions regarding HR, internships, and any other topic that comes up. So just a word of housekeeping, if you have any questions at any time, please type them in the chat and send them to everyone, or you can send them to me privately if you'd rather keep it on the DL, and I'll field those questions and introduce them to Aaron. So Aaron, I'll turn it over to you, and we're so thankful to have you today.
Yes, thank you. Well, first, thank you. Big shout out to Cait and the whole office for letting me speak today. I'm really excited. Been excited since our call last week. Me and Cait had a call last week about this. So I'm excited. First, I'm just going to present real quickly on a few slides, which will just give you guys a little background on me. So hopefully this will work. All right, cool. This. All right, cool. Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yes, like Cait said, my name is Aaron Varella. These are 3 lessons I learned since graduating. So I just graduated in May 2019. I was a marketing major and an HR minor. I currently work at Dominion Energy as a recruiter on the gas side of our business. Since January, I created a platform on Instagram called Cove of Advice, and I'm a VCU alumni, a mentor, and more recently, I just got certified in being an associate professional in human resources as well. So on campus, I was really busy. I was really involved. Like Cait said, I was student org coordinator. I was also BSA president in 2018. I was a Rhodes Hall resident assistant. So for you, and I see some of my RAs on here too. I was a resident assistant for 2 years. I was also in the Provost Advisory Student Council and FACT at VCU, so in that cultural work. So I was really involved on campus. And going from being so involved to graduating is the big difference from just doing nothing, basically. So these are 3 things I learned on campus, or I learned in my year since graduation, that definitely applies now during COVID-19 and how people can move through it. So the first thing is power of your network. Reach out and ask for advice. So this is not just like COVID advice, but still ask for advice. I learned this through three times and 3 people over the past year. The first one was my mentor, Fabi. So Fabi is a VCU alumni. She graduated 2 years before me. We connected over LinkedIn, and over my time at VCU, I saw her post, everything she did, and she saw a lot of what I did. Senior year, I reached out to her to kind of just have an informational interview of Dominion. We had a pretty long talk, and she actually referred me to my now supervisor, and she was big reasons I got my position currently. So that just shows one on Power Network. The second is more recently, this middle picture is my 2 marketing teachers, senior year of high school. I took their marketing class, and I actually chose my marketing major because of their class and going through different trips with them. More recently in January, them asked me to judge the DECA competition. If you guys are familiar with the organization DECA, they asked me and my friend Alyssa to judge DECA, their state competition. And it was a big full circle. They also reached out through LinkedIn. So this common thing is LinkedIn. Overall, so they reached out and they asked me to be part of the judging. Then these last 2, these are my roommates. It's Nikki and Johnny. Nikki's birthday's today, so I had to give her a shout out. But I helped both of them create their LinkedIns and kind of understand the power of your network. So overall, Nikki's a UVA grad, and she's been reaching out to her network and then fellow alumni. So just one thing which is really important, your network around you, especially on LinkedIn and especially during these times, you can reach out to them for advice, ask for mentors. This mentoring platform is really great because you can reach out to as many mentors in the Richmond area, Virginia area, and even just overall, VCU alumni have really they want to give. But people overall, I've found out in this past are willing to just offer advice and offer mentorship. So I created my platform in January. Being in HR, I didn't have that creative side as much as I wanted to. So I was trying to figure out how to get involved, how to give back. So this past January, I created my Instagram. And then these are 3 things which I really found out. So after creating so much and creating my videos, I really found the return I got was just meeting and talking to my friends. So I did 2 interviews with Mark and Katrina and then Curtis, and I plan to do a lot more. But I would have never done such a thing if I didn't plan to create and plan to share. And hearing their stories, I've always heard about their stories personally, but it was really cool to share their stories and share it to a big community. From after sharing their stories, I really got a lot of good feedback. They've gotten conversations separately about just the topics they spoke of. They've seen the power of their networks explode too, just because of sharing their stories. I do book recommendations. So I did a book recommendation of Damon John's Shark Tank. And one of the really cool things I saw in return was I posted one book recommendation of his Rise and Grind book, Damon John's. And he actually saw it. I tagged him and he saw it, messaged me, commented, and in about February, he sent me his book, his new book, Power Shift, early advanced copy. And it was just really cool. And I would have never gotten an early copy of a Shark Tank's book. And I'm in communications with his social media manager right now too. And it was just a really cool opportunity, only because I went out there and shared my thoughts on his book and portfolio. And the last one, I was thinking of ways for the seniors out there. I'm really sorry about your semester getting cut short, and I can't imagine what you guys are going through right now. But I saw this post of his teacher she let her 3rd grader kids write to the seniors. And I got to design it for her, and it was a really cool just opportunity to give back to the senior class of 2020. So overall, just share and create ideas, especially in these times. There are a lot of companies going through hiring freezes, a lot of uneasiness. So one way to keep active and keep engaged is sharing ideas. You don't have to be creative. I say create and share because you don't have to be designing. You can just go on LinkedIn, you can go on Facebook, go on social media, start a live stream, just start talking, start just sharing content, and you will see a return in it. And then last, everything's going on. Take your time to just breathe. In time, your view will change. I say that because I started out in this building right here, Dominion Energy's OJRP. It's almost halfway down now. But when I started in June, end June, start July, this was my cube right here. It was like you see in the movies, cubicle, just office, and just dreary old building. I can say that now, and you'll see why. But that first 2 weeks, I was really just this is not for me, this company and this job. And I think it was just the environment and everything. I was just not, I'm going to do this for a few months and try to find another job. Then a few months later, which I didn't know when I started, we would be moving into the newest building, 600 Canal. And this is my view right now. I miss it right now because I'm home here in Virginia Beach. But overall, I just should have, at the time, those first few weeks, I was just overwhelmed, not really thinking ahead, but I really didn't think about it. But looking at a positive outlook will definitely help you in these times. It will get better. You'll get through it. You'll get that job. You will get that accomplishment you're looking for. And that's kind of what I found out. And now I'm loving the company. I just love my team and love the work I do. Thankful and privileged to have a job still too in these times. And of course, I love this new building, which is just really cool. So those are just 3 things to just keep in mind. Again, I wanted to keep it short just to open it up for questions. These are my Instagram, and then, so let me stop, go back to this. And so, yeah, any questions, thoughts?
Yeah, so thanks so much, Aaron. If you guys can think of any questions for Aaron or even comments, what are you, if you think of the 3 things that he shared, really, number one, the power of your network and who you're connected to through your organizations, your leadership opportunities, your involvement at VCU, mentors in the Connect Mentoring program. Number 2, ways to create and share. Let us know, what have you been doing to as creative outlets, and to share your good work that you're currently focusing on. And then number 3, take your time and breathe. So these are really, great tips and really good tangible things that we can all think of during this time. So it looks like we do have a question from Giovanni. And she says, now that her summer has gotten really free because her start date has been deferred, how do you recommend getting creative and sharing, Aaron? So she's been writing and blogging, and she's going to have more time for that. How can she leverage it and have fun at the same time?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely about, hi Giovanni, thank you for the question first. I definitely think it's about sharing and doing something you are, oh, I can see you now, great. What you're passionate about. So you definitely in the IS space, at least from knowing you, just sharing maybe tips to help other students of how to learn about a certain subject you are passionate about, or you said you are writing and blogging, kind of sharing that more, even on LinkedIn, making LinkedIn articles, and reaching out, maybe sending even those articles to companies, brands you're trying to work for. That definitely helped me with my Damon John story. I created it first and then kind of tag him and send it to him. So companies can see that portfolio and see what work you've done already. And to your point, you got to make it fun. So you got to like what you're doing. Don't just create stuff. And I think the most authentic stuff and the best things come out if you're having fun and you're showing your authentic self. So hopefully that answers your question.
Unmute. That's a good lead into another question that we've gotten. So Alexander posed one, and it really has to do with starting up an organization and starting up a new thing. So for you with Cove of Advice, what did the process look like for you to get that started? And do you have any recommendations for helping organizations scale up and grow larger?
Mm-hmm. So I'm still definitely learning. I'm learning as I go, and I think I started the process thinking of just creative ideas over Christmas break this past year in 2019, and I kind of just wanted to start something on my birthday in January. So I started this new company and everything and launched the brand. Just getting different ideas and different thoughts together, definitely on a page. I think big believer of writing affirmations down and writing your thoughts. You can always think of great ideas, great creative ideas, but unless you put it on Word, put it on paper, put it on your diary, journal, Google Drive, wherever, so it's actionable items you can start doing. So I think definitely starting to just think through stuff. There's a lot of resources I found out in the past few months, which help brands, which help creatives, which help just entrepreneurs, going back to the point of just reaching out to people to ask for that information. Definitely help. Scaling is something I'm still trying to work through and try to learn, but I think it just goes back to reaching out to people who you see who are doing it great, and just shoot your shot and then try to reach out.
Awesome. So let's see. Here's one from Jada. And she is asking, what from your marketing classes made you want to be a marketing major?
Mm-hmm. So in Virginia Beach, we have technology, like different academies. And I was in the IT strand in like the high school way. And I only did that because my dad is an IT, computer science major and everything. But I learned through that classes that I did not like coding. And I was not the type of person to do that all day. So senior year, I took a marketing class, and I think it's just through the DECA competitions, meeting people and designing and having that creative side, but also leveraging everything else was the thing that really stood out to me. So being able to be creative, but also being able to talk to people and meet people every day.
Okay, nice. And so that really leads into your work now. And when you and I were talking, you were mentioning that you're really focused on HR during your day job. And so creating the Cove of Advice was a great way for you to have a creative outlet. So as you approach your planning and your planning out your posts, what is your strategy on figuring out what content to post and what people would like to see? And this one is from Ryan.
Yeah, so the first few, hey, Ryan's actually my mentee. So hi, Ryan. Uh, I think the first few months, I was just trying to put out content which I thought people needed to hear, and kind of just really just hustling to do it. Since COVID, I had more time to think about and plan it. But one thing I really am trying to do and am going to do is surveys. So I've done a few on my page to ask people what they actually want to hear. So that is a way I'm trying to build out content of what people actually want to see, what kind of posts they want to learn about, instead of just kind of the opposite way.
Okay, that's great. So you're crowdsourcing a little bit and going right to the user, if you will, to see what they're most interested in to get that interaction. That's awesome. So shifting gears from marketing over to HR, we have a few questions here about HR and recruiting with the current situation that we're in. There are a few, so there is a shout out from Josh saying, glad you're rocking it at Dominion. So kudos to you, Aaron. And so this is from Josh. For graduates, especially with hiring freezes, and Giovanni mentioned her offer has been not rescinded but pushed back, so her start date is a little bit later. So how do you think people can leverage their connections and networking given the hiring freezes that are going on? So that's part one. And then we have a second part, which I can repeat later. From a recruiter's perspective, what's the best thing someone can do to stand out if they are still, pushing forward in that job search? And it can be any time, or it can be particularly in this time.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think definitely there are a lot of companies that are doing hiring freezes, layoffs, furloughs. So I think this time is, you may not be able to be as specific as you want. I think any experience is transferable. Even experience in your leadership orgs or just anything you're doing right now can be transferable to any skill. So I think be able to take that as in, these are new opportunities. I think everyone's going through the same thing too. So being more open, I guess, to positions and opportunities that you're looking for will help you land a job quickly.
Okay, thanks. And then with that, so as folks are searching and maybe opening their boundaries beyond what they might have thought before, what are some best ways from a recruiter's perspective for a candidate to stand out? And that was asked by Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Definitely research the company. I think researching the company and reaching out to recruiters. Most recruiters are on LinkedIn or on some sort of social media. Some companies even have their recruiters like emails listed and everything. I think doing research about the company first, then reaching out to the recruiters to just learn more. There's a way to ask it though. Don't just straight up ask for a job. Actually try to learn about the company you're trying to apply for. And then who knows, they might use their network to connect you to something, like I found my job.
Okay, so do you have so what's an example of like what you would consider a strong outreach note?
Mhm. I think if they introduce themselves, definitely leverage for the students out there, or even new grads, or staff, faculty, whoever. Leverage your position right now. Tell the recruiter, hey, I'm a student. Hey, I'm a faculty here. I'm just trying to learn more about your company. I've seen this, this, and this. Maybe even looking at their profile, looking who they are, and seeing the common threads. See if like you did res assistants together, or see if you had an organization you were part of. VCU alumni. I'm an alumni too. I'm a student. That connection. So finding that common thread too.
Okay, so more kind of the informational interview approach and the relationship building rather than I see you have this job open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested. Tell me, like, what can you tell me? Like, one of them, it seems like the first way that you described was more like transformational, like, meaning making versus the transactional. I see this, I want this. How
Yep.
can you?
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, so shifting back to marketing and Cove of Advice. So Hydri brings up a really good point that it seems like starting a side gig takes a lot of time and energy. And they themselves are thinking about starting a podcast, but don't know if it would be worth the time investment to be put in it. So their questions really relate to how do you justify putting in your time for this project, and what do you think you get out of it? Yeah, can you share a bit about that?
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's always scary, especially when you don't see a monetary value right away, or just value right away. Um, but I think if you guys follow Gary Vee talks about it a lot too. I think as long as you put content out and share your ideas, it's kind of playing the long game, and you have to just wait it out also. But someone will see it as long as you don't need 3,000 followers at first, even 200 followers. As long as you have 10 engaged people who are listening all the time, that can mean the world to someone. Even 5 engaged people listening to the podcast you create is really important too. So I think even starting small and just kind of keeping putting content out there, putting your ideas out there, someone will definitely listen.
Yeah, and I think linking back to something you shared earlier, the fact that you wanted that creative outlet and you were missing this piece of your life as you were studying marketing and being involved in really cool group projects with your friends and your networks.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that comes to my mind that this is really a passion project for you, and that probably makes it worth it to a large extent to put that extra time in.
Yeah, so I think that does, like, as long as you're having fun with it. I'm having fun with my posts. I'm having fun reaching out to people. So it doesn't really seem it is more work after my actual 9 to 5, but the returns are always there. So
Okay, great. Okay, so here's a really good one. As a young professional and a fairly recent grad, shout out class of 2019. How do you continue to build your confidence?
hmm so that's a big one. I think class of 2019, and I think I'm still like I'm always working on confidence, always working on more presenting. I think it just going out there and just stepping out of your comfort zone, just starting to do it, starting basically, to try doing a new skill, learning something. So I think the first step is just starting, writing your ideas, writing your creative thoughts. Um, that will help you build confidence once you start doing.
Okay, so it's taking those small steps and then getting the practice in and seeing, all right, I got this.
And I think it's also just reflecting on how far you've come, which kind of goes back to the audience and then seeing just ideas come out. Celebrate those small wins and even or big wins too. Honestly, celebrate those wins as you go, and you'll see your confidence build over time.
Great, thanks. So we have time for probably one or two more questions. As you think of what you might want to fit in to ask Aaron with our time together, Aaron, I have a question for you. So in addition to the Cove of Advice, which seems to really fulfill you right now and even before our current work from home situation, what are you doing to create or take care of yourself? What are your outlets right now when, you showed us the picture of your office when that view is so very different?
Yeah, no, self-care now is definitely really important. I think, well, like I said, for the first few weeks, it was really busy. And honestly, the first few weeks I started working from home, I didn't really create that much and or even do much for Cove of Advice. I took a lot of time for Netflix those first few weeks. So I think just doing what is important to you and taking that time to just figure out your space. Right now, I'm in Virginia Beach at my parents' house, and I had to bring my bike because I love biking everywhere. So I brought my bike from Richmond down to Virginia Beach to just go on bike rides after work, and some days when the pollen count isn't too high, that too. Um, but yeah, I think just finding something that you like doing, which is out of your normal work schedule, creative schedule, which will give you peace, and it's really important to stay kind of um, level-headed and having that self-care time, especially now.
Great. Well, let's see. Okay, so this is a really good one to end on. So we have one that's come in, and it's kind of giving advice. You've already given some great advice throughout this session and our time together. Do you have any encouragements or specific advice for the class of 2020 during this time?
Mhm. Yeah, so I think I definitely feel for you guys again. Um, but just know that your experience and like leadership and everything you've done through college is still really important. Although you guys may not have your May graduation and be able to finish your senior year off, you still can really leverage everything you've done, and don't forget like how much you have accomplished. Kind of going back to the reflecting piece, you guys have still done so much. So be able to realize that and then reflect on it and promote it to help yourself in getting whatever role you seek after graduation or next steps.
Great. Well, thanks, Aaron, so much for joining us today. It's so good to see you again. We went from seeing each other pretty much every day while you worked in the office. So it has been really wonderful to have you. For those of the rest of you who are tuned in, we have one more Mentoring Monday left next week. We have Rich Reineck speaking, and he has years of experience, and he's also a founder, so he'll be able to offer his perspective. And then we have our final two Wellness Wednesdays coming up with Brian Rose of Business Career Services this week and Dean Ed Greer next Wednesday. So thanks again. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday and a great week ahead, and hope to see you coming up. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you guys.